Thing you told me.
Hello, and welcome to the delicious recipe here on a Thursday. This one we called it satay. Oh,
Taking
satay,
out.
satay Thursday. Attempt 2, and attempt 2 didn't work there. Just as we planned. Oh, you're still scratching, babe. Okay, okay. So yeah, this is try number 2 there today. We were supposed to have I was supposed to have Sama Arah on, who was supposed to be last week, and we rescheduled for this week, but she ended up having an issue there with I guess a back problem, and she's over in the UK, and she wasn't able to make it there because I had some really interesting questions to ask her. Because she is the plebeian child, and she maybe you're still scratching there.
I shouldn't be.
Yeah. So, anyways, out of that whole part, there is that she's not showing up there today once again. So I have my lovely other one up there, Laura Lee. Say hello,
The
Laura
other
Lee.
one. Hi, everybody.
Yes. So out of this, there is. See, I had some really interesting questions, but
Hi,
at first,
Jeannie.
before I start this off there, if you're watching live, you can watch on YouTube there. It's UFO Gods and Extraterrestrials, or the
Hi, Yvonne.
UFO Paranormal Radio. And that's off the YouTube, or you can check it out on the Delicious Recipe on Facebook, or wherever else you can be
Well, if they
listening.
go over to UFO Paranormal Radio Network on Facebook, they'll be able. We'll see their comments, like Jeannie and Yvonne, that are
Right.
saying hello. Mhm.
Yep. So it's a little bit of a rush day there. I don't know why I keep on getting scheduled at 6:30 on a Thursday when I have a 7 o'clock radio show, but it is what it is. So made it here. So sorry for the little bit of a hectic start here, but out of this whole part there is uh, like I said, there Soma. Who knows? Carol Noonan, I believe, is her given name, but she had some interesting stuff with talking with UFOs and stuff like that. And they get because the Pleiadians, they know everything about the past, the present, and the future. So I was going to ask questions like who's going to win the Stanley Cup this year. What's going to happen at the end of this Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial? And that's the thing where we're going to start this one off there today. So, any thoughts about this, Laura Lee?
Yes, I watched Emily Baker on YouTube. She is a lawyer. Excellent channel. I actually had it on most of the day. Um, I do, but first I do want, like I said, say hi to Yvonne Gladwell and Jeannie Spencer. So glad you guys are tuning in. Glad to see you. I'm going to introduce myself in case people haven't met
Oh
me.
yeah,
I am a host here. Don't mind Dell. He just walked in the door from work,
yeah,
like he said. So I am a host of my own show of The Angel Rock on Monday nights here on United Public Radio Network. We're both Canadian. We are broadcast to you live from New Orleans, Louisiana through United Public Radio Network. Anyways, about this Amber Heard trial. You know what? We've talked about this a lot privately off air, and like some of the questions we've heard were, well, why sue her? She hasn't got the money. She's not going to be able to pay the 50 million or 100 million or whatever it is. But I
yeah,
said to you that I think what this is about is restoring Johnny Depp's reputation,
yeah,
as well as, and it's sad because this woman, and I hesitantly call her a woman. Beautiful packaging, but anything underneath is pure demonic energy to me, and I'm sorry, but it is because she has really set everything back so far with the lies she has told. And I'm sorry, there's too much evidence out there to have any shred of proof about what she said. But I also think this has done a very important thing, is it has drawn attention to men who are physically abused by their partners, because men have been chastised, they've been belittled, they've been made fun of when they've come forward. And I think there was a lot of good done out of this. But I've said also this very quickly, you and I have nothing to hide, but I'll tell you, I wouldn't want to be putting all my dirty laundry out there for the world to see.
Right. And I just heard there today, as I walked in the door, you had that Emily
Hmm.
Baker YouTube on there. You're still scratching a bit there, babe.
There's nothing I can do about it. I took it off. It's probably just because I'm moving. And if I move people, I have a bad back. I'm sorry. It's the best I can do to stay comfortable.
Yeah. But they were just talking at the very end, just before we went live. I was just listening, and because he's suing her for 50 million for
Hmm.
defamation case, she's countersuing for 100 million
Is that how
because
it is? Okay. Hmm.
yeah, now well, this is just found this out there today, and
Okay.
that's what he's worth right now is 100 million because he lost 350 million from everything because of his accountants, whatever bad investments, bad whatever, and
Oh,
he's
they tried at the trial yesterday, I think it was too, to say that he didn't lose a penny. He lost a lot of money.
right. Well, you got to figure that out of this, and this is the question or the predicament because when I was talking to my buddy there yesterday, because he's dealt with a lot of lawyers because he was a teacher over in China. He's in Canada now and looking to go back and had properties and stuff like that. Is that when it comes to accounting and lawyers and stuff like that, even if they make bad investments on your part, you are still responsible for it, even though these people are chartered accountants and that they lose uh, all whatever I guess
Responsibility.
responsibility. That's the word I was looking for. Thank you very much. But yeah, it's just a mess of this trial here. This has been like since the OJ trial. Like I never watched that one at all,
I
but
did.
this is like a movie. Like this, I can't wait for like the documentary or the movie to come out about this trial and the amount of perjury, lying. Even when the sister was on the stand
That
there,
came up a lot today in the
did it?
testimony by the day. Some of the and the other thing I'm going to bring up very quickly that they've done, and I don't think they realized till today. Amber Heard was sitting with her legal team today. Yesterday, they wanted nothing to do with her. You could see that,
Right,
but some of the witnesses they called forward to support Amber Heard kept bringing up about the charge of perjury, lying on the stand,
right,
lying on the stand. Now the thing is they've got less than 8 hours left of testimony for all of next week to fill. It ends next Friday.
hmm
Johnny Depp has 18 hours left. So this is really going to hurt her case.
Well, yeah, that's it's sort of interesting. That was the sort of the part that Emily was saying that it ends in 5 days or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
5 court more days.
Mm-hmm.
And the part was interesting was yesterday when I was watching it. They said when her sister, I can't remember,
Whitney.
Whitney was on the stand there, and they finished with her. He says, "Do we have the right to recall this witness and stuff like that?" And Depp's thing says, "No, we're done with her. That's it. She can't now. She can't back onto the stand. She can't be recalled." And that's sort of really I didn't know
Well,
that.
one of the big mistakes they made today, and you understood why,
I
was
see.
because
I missed all this there because I
okay,
was at
so
work all
because
day. So
Amber Heard called her mental health into testimony saying she had PTSD, Depp's lawyers got to choose their own psychologist to do a psychiatric assessment on her. And
right,
they said, no, no PTSD, borderline, histrionic borderline personality disorder, which is quite rare. And she does fit the picture from what I've seen of the diagnosis.
right,
But
and you should tell the people out there that you are
oh, I'm a
still,
registered
yeah,
nurse too. So the other thing is today Amber Heard's trial lawyers called Johnny Depp's psychiatrist out there, and there was a lot of personal details. But this psychiatrist, this gentleman, was very empathetic. You could tell how much he cared about Johnny, and he kept saying about how how sad he was for him and how much he had on his plate and how hard he was working to try to get over all these issues. But my whole point is there's some lawyer, I think he's from Canada, actually, the way Emily Baker was talking, is in the courtroom. And he was tweeting, but not
oh
tweeting what's going on. He's very
yeah,
careful
yeah,
about what he said. He came on her show afterwards, though, and he was able to say he could he could report the faces of the juries. Okay, there's
Right.
7 jurors there. And he said, "Why would you ever, ever bring on somebody to support your client, yet they're siding empathetically and very sadly with the plaintiff, with Johnny?" Like, you could see how sad they were for him. Like, it backfired totally on their team today.
Yeah, that was I watched part of that there. Either was last night or yesterday or this morning there before I went to work, and I think his name is it's got a weird name like Randolph or Rudolph or something like that, and he's got this really crazy like Einstein hair, really long
Mhm.
and that. And then as they were going into court, yeah, because I went to work at 10 there today. So, yeah, so just as they were going into court, you could see him walking into the door, sitting down, and he sat on the Amber Heard side, right? Like
Mhm.
like in a wedding or
Yeah.
for the
Yeah.
bride or the groom, but he sat on that side, and maybe that's because he could get a better view of the jury. Because I haven't seen a picture of the jury yet.
I don't think we're going to, because I think this is such a heated case that they're probably going to maintain their anonymity till after the trial. But what I couldn't understand, and it came out today in the trial, why is this going on in the state of Virginia? And I found out
Oh,
why. The
okay.
Washington Post, I guess,
Mhm.
is where the op-ed was published. That's
Mhm.
where they're situated. So that's why the case is going on there.
Well, that was the part that Emily Baker had said there just before we went on
Hmm.
there is that because people are asking questions, why is it being the trial happening there? And because
Hmm.
each state has different parts of laws and stuff like that, and where you can go
Hmm.
and sue people and stuff like that, and uh, they have different. Like when it goes to the state level, everything's a little bit different. And so she says that if you want to check that out, she explains it in all in detail why everything is happening in Virginia, which
Hmm.
is which is which is sort of a little bit weird because they live in L.A. right, and then
Hmm.
most of the but he's got properties all over the place there too, and so, all around. He's got an island because that was the best part out of this, and this is what I found this so entertaining yesterday when they were talking to the sister Whitney. uh, she was boom talking right to the jury and looking, and then there's a sort of a little catchphrase she kept on saying, but everything was so uh, derogatory that he was always drunk, he was always nasty, and he was always uh, she was like the marriage counselor in between. And then it comes out the part there when the cross examination goes through, and this was so interestingly beautiful. It says, "Okay, well, you've written here that you ran away from home because your sister Amber used to beat you up, and your dad beat you up. You went to your friend's place, and then to live there, you said you were living on the floor, but actually you were living in a loft in the condo, and everything that she said on there was like
A lie.
a lie, and she got called out for it, and there's proof, and then there's reports on this too, because we watched this other thing, that umbrella guy,
Hmm.
where he goes through a lot of documentation that's out there, and he's been going back and back, looking at I guess text messages and stuff like that of AH's character, and it's like, okay, well, everything that she portrayed is that's like a totally different person. And this is the part that we discussed, me and you, Laura, is that wonder if she's got like multiple personality disorder.
Even her handwriting. But the one thing I wanted to add quickly as a parent, okay? If somebody is beating the crap out of your daughter, okay, you
Yeah,
figure that's your daughter, okay? And you're texting back and forth with the spouse, Johnny Depp,
yeah,
and you're telling him you love you, man. I love you, man. I love you like a son or a brother. You're amazing. Nobody should be hitting anybody. Amber needs to learn how to control her temper. This was all in text brought out today, okay?
okay, yeah,
So
yeah,
if you got somebody's beating the crap out of your daughter, are you going to be texting back and forth and telling them how much you love them?
yeah,
Never mind the fact that they were both parents begging Johnny not to tell AH, if you're calling her that,
yeah.
that not to let her know that they were speaking because it would be the end of their relationship with their daughter. So
Right.
you tell me if somebody is beating the crap out of your child and you know
Mhm.
this, you're going to be texting secretly and telling them how much you love them and you care about them and stuff. That right there is insane.
Yeah.
Absolutely insane.
And the other part, you're texting messages after all these incidents happen
Mhm.
where AH, Amber Heard, whatever. We'll just call her AH because that's what a lot of them have been doing there. But they're texting about, hey, I really want to go on that private jet you're chartering. Hey, I really want to go to your, I want to go here. And like they were all living rent free in
I know,
his
rent free. Hmm.
penthouses places. And the other part that was sort of surprising there too is that her sister Whitney was also getting a salary for curating an art display that she was doing, right? So she's living in a penthouse apartment in LA, and she's also getting paid a salary, and she's just to be like a curator. And a lot of them, like he was very
He still is very
yeah,
generous. I
and
said to you before, Del, I don't think he's a bad guy. I don't think he's an angel. I
yeah,
think that, but who is? Who doesn't
hmm,
have skeletons in their closet? I
right,
think his defense did a great job with coming out and owning it because this is where Amber Heard's lawyers tried to go today and
oh, okay,
bored the crap out of everybody was he's a drunk, he's a drug user, he's this,
right,
he's that.
hmm,
And nobody except Amber Heard's friends, they even had Ellen Barkin testify today,
oh,
and she
really, yeah,
just came across as this withered up old shrew that was scorned, a woman scorned, because she said he threw a bottle,
yeah,
but not very hard, and he didn't throw it at her. And then she tried to
yeah,
say he was drunk all the time. It just came across, and she sat there the whole time of the testimony, which I found was very funny because she was an attractive woman in her day.
right,
She sat there like this, like her lips, like purposely doing that. Like I don't know if she thought she was making herself look youthful. Her hair was all scraggly gray. Like the woman looks like she's 90 years old.
right,
And at first she tried to say they had a platonic relationship.
hmm,
Then it turned romantic because he pushed the buttons. I couldn't figure. I kept going, what the heck is she talking about pushing the buttons? And
right,
she meant that he was the one that flipped the switch. And she
hmm,
quickly reworded her words from romantic to sexual because obviously I guess they didn't have a relationship. But
right,
like I said, everybody today did no favors and they've wasted all this whole day of testimony. Now, what's going to happen that this Emily, I'm so grateful for people like this Emily Baker, because unless you're a lawyer trying to understand all this, she
yeah,
said what can happen is they've got so few hours left. They're going to have to rest very careful, very soon with their case.
yeah,
And Johnny Depp's got all this extra time to recall witnesses, recall whatever he wants, and they can't object.
yeah.
Mhm.
That yeah.
Jeannie's laughing about the lips. I couldn't do it right. Like you have to see this. It's just heinous. I can't wait for the memes.
Yeah. Well, that was the whole part out of it was uh what was there was one of the friends of I guess Amber's or Whitney's or
Hmm.
something like that, it testified that she was getting messages and phone calls, and I guess a part about the Australia where his finger was cut down to the
Yeah.
bone there where they and all that, is that she was said that, oh, he broke the bottle himself and tried to amputate his own finger.
Yeah, right.
And then after he did that, he wrote some stuff on a mirror, and then he tried to bottle penetrate
Assault her
Amber
sexually with a bottle.
with a
Yes.
bottle while he was holding her down with
No, that was Amber on the stand. That
oh
is
yeah
where she realized right there out of everything, and we're not watching this day and night, guys. It was just on today. Del went
yeah,
to work, so I left it on. But I'm not kidding. That is when she asked about four times. I'm sorry, could you repeat the question? Because the lawyer was insinuating, okay, so he's just cut his finger off to the bone.
yeah,
And now you're saying that he has you by one hand on the counter with his neck around the neck, and he's grabbed a bottle and he's doing what you just said she claimed he was doing. Who
yeah,
does that with an amputated finger? How are you going to do that? How are you
yeah.
going to do that? And she realized right there, it was written all over her face. Oh boy, I just I just screwed up. Jeannie Spencer, you're right. Age got a screw loose. She got more than one screw loose, girl.
Well, that's the whole part there, because then there was another uh, thing I watched. I think it was this morning, talking about James Franco, and that after she left Johnny Depp, that she got
Pregnant.
impregnated with
Whose
James.
embryos were frozen? Were those the Elon Musk's? They were talking about that today. It wasn't Johnny Depp's.
Yeah, I
So
don't.
somebody,
There
because she
might
was
have been
fighting
Elon
about
Musk's
those.
mums or something like that, because Elon Musk doesn't have embryos, right? He has
No, but
sperm.
did he have them with her is what I'm talking about. Because he had
Yeah.
triplets with his new wife. So,
Mm,
and I understand those weren't conceived naturally. Well, I mean, they were, life began in I'm not trying to be disrespectful here, but life began in a petri dish. She did not conceive those three children naturally. So
right.
did he try to get Amber Heard to have some kids with him, and they went through IVF and froze some embryos? I
I
don't
don't
know.
know. Well, the part there that this other sleuth had done, was that they
Hmm.
figured it was James Franco, that he impregnated her, and that's through the video and the timing when all this stuff happened there. And then
Hmm.
now he's come out saying that he was a sex addict. Remember how Russell Brand said that he was a sex
Hmm.
addict and all that stuff? And I think there was a couple more that said that. It says, "I'm not responsible for my addiction. I'm sick.
Hmm.
I go and cheat on people, and I have sex with all these." Yeah, yeah. That's just a great excuse for
To be promiscuous.
right. So hey, yeah. Well,
I
hey,
got a song playing through my head with it. I'm just a sex
it
addict.
wasn't.
I'm not
Yeah, it wasn't.
promiscuous.
I got the other one there by Shaggy. It wasn't me, right? While your pants are
Yeah.
down.
Yeah, it wasn't me. Yeah. I
I
don't
know
know
you.
who it
I know you
was,
caught
but
me on the counter. It wasn't me.
no, wasn't. Well, that's kind of Amber Heard too. Like when you go back through her testimony, well, that's not quite the way you see it. Whitney tried that too. Well, the way you're oversimplifying it, well, it was, and then Amber Heard, it was photoshopped. Oh, they're
Mhm.
lying. Oh, they're
Right.
this. And then, so you took it upon yourself, all these injuries you have
Yeah.
that you claim you have. And what do? You grab a camera and you take a picture of the mirror. And afterwards, and it is her handwriting because we see
Yeah.
all the different
Oh, that was
things of her
interesting.
handwriting.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
red, it says, "Call Carly Simon. She knows the answer." And the
Right.
reason why, because I guess what Johnny Depp had scribbled on the mirror was, "You're so vain."
Right.
So, and they called Amber Heard on this too. They're going, so he had a conversation with himself on the mirror, and then he
Right.
wrote in red because he didn't like what he said to himself. Is that what you're trying to insinuate here?
Yeah. Well, see, many people don't understand, or don't realize, or didn't know, is that Johnny Depp was a musician that went to LA to become famous as a musician,
Mm-hmm.
and he got found out to be, hey, like, you look like the part, and he went into movies, but he was always a musician
Mm-hmm.
first. That's
Mm-hmm.
why he's got that whole part there with Hollywood vampires, with
Yeah.
Joe Perry, and
Alice
he's got
Cooper.
Alice Cooper, and he's got friends with Marilyn Manson, and
Mm-hmm.
that was another interesting one, is how they portrayed all her witnesses, how they portrayed him at home and all the parties, is saying that he's got all this, doing all these lines of coke, he's doing drinking nonstop, and he's really belligerent in that. Well, you know what? If somebody was like that all the time,
You didn't
you
have
wouldn't
anybody
want to
around
be
you.
around them,
Mm-mm.
right? You
Nope.
wouldn't you wouldn't want to go to their place and go, hey, yeah, let's go to that drunken coke place there that
They
you
get
don't
treated
know,
like crap.
and you don't know what's going to happen. There could be the whole
Bottles
place could be
flying.
destroyed. Like, it's not like the rock bands of the '70s and stuff like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're going, hey, yeah, that's the place we want to go, right?
Mm-hmm.
We want to live and have him pay our rent for us. Yeah, that's the place we want to be, right? I find it so weird, I guess, in the way of characterizing what people would put up for, like the part with her sister Whitney, saying that she was called to come out there because they had an extra penthouse apartment for her and a job, right?
Mm-hmm.
No skills or nothing, and then, okay, come here, and he was very gracious in the parts, if you look at there, for like that that guy there, who was the painter that was living up there in.
Oh, he was a powerful witness to it at the
Yeah,
beginning. But they brought that up today. Emily Baker brought that up, that where do you go for peace and sanctuary when all of her friends all have master keys to all the places where you live?
right.
They're all there all the time.
Hmm.
Like like I said, it completely backfired on them today. Everything that they tried, they had a Disney executive and they kept asking stupid questions about, well, if you're in a biggest movie ever of all time when it comes to Marvel.
Yeah.
And shouldn't she have been getting all these roles and money? They were trying to say that, I guess, because they had this was the biggest waste of time. They had Johnny Depp's ex lawyer, that Adam, I don't know what it's
Oh,
a
is that the
horror.
one from the UK?
No, no, he's from the US, but they claim he's the one that leaked that Amber Heard was lying, that she had all her friends over and they trashed the place and then took a few pictures and said Johnny beat her up.
Right.
So they had a
Was
Disney exec on there, kept
yeah.
asking questions, and this lawyer too. Everything they asked the lawyer, his lawyer would object and say, no, attorney-client privilege. This went on for about an hour almost. So
Right.
it felt like, so the jury was bored to tears. So was everybody else. Then
Right.
they had a Disney exec on. And
Yeah.
they kept asking, well, why isn't she making all this money? Why isn't she doing all this? And she
Yeah.
was being very careful what she said, but
Right.
she basically stated that somebody with this much drama around them and Disney being a family friendly company,
Yeah.
we cut our losses basically and said goodbye.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What was the other part there? Is that I think it was in the sister, because sister, or it was Amber Heard's girlfriend that was like the musician reporter in the UK,
It
and they
is a
said,
big farce, Jeannie.
yeah,
Hmm.
but they said you posted all these pictures of all this destruction during all these fights and everything like that, and the one with the bed, but there's a pocket knife on the
On the
bed.
bed, yeah.
It says,
And blood all over the pillows. I guess it was disappearing blood.
right, and so you have all this destruction, all this things where you're saying that he repeatedly punched you in the face with these big, massive rings because he wears rings all the time and hit
Well,
you
he
and threw
doesn't
his
wear them all the time, so they went back to her testimony. I've never
right.
known Johnny
But
not to be wearing rings.
this was the question out of it. It says you posted all these shots of all the destruction there, but you never posted a picture of
Her
Amber Heard
face.
with a bloody face or broken nose or anything
And
like
she was
that.
on James Corden the next night, and she kept claiming that her lip was busted open. It was a split lip. Every time she talked or opened her mouth, it bled. So they
Right.
took pictures, stills from the show, right
Yeah.
up close, and she's got her mouth like this in the picture, and there's not a mark on her. And to me, you've got nothing to support you. I still don't know how she won the UK case.
Well,
There has to be. I
there was
really.
some manipulation, I think, with the UK case, because that came up 2 days ago. Uh,
Mhm,
because that was the whole thing when the Depp's lawyer started said, "Do you understand what the word perjury means?"
mhm.
And went through and explained it to her and wrote it down there. So when they're asking the questions again about this time, because everything's on the table now, it said, "Well, why are you saying something different now when you said in court back then under oath, right, that this is the true fact? That's why you put your hand on the Bible, says, I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God." And now she's giving a different story, and all the transcripts they brought in from the UK.
Well, what I don't understand, and I guess there's no way to see this till after the fact when you're the judge or whatever. I'm going to say alleged, but Amber Heard has some alleged substance abuse issues. There's the picture,
Mm-hmm.
and somebody claimed, well, there's no flash photography in the court. You could hear the cameras going off, and she had the Kleenex to her nose, and she pauses, and then she looks down
Right.
and she holds the pose for about 5 seconds. Then it looks like she's wiping her nose and she shoves the Kleenex up her nose, takes a big sniff, and
Yeah.
takes the Kleenex away, wipes her nose. But the other one I just saw, talk about internet super sleuths out there, I'll tell you. She walks into court, this is 2 or 3 days ago, and she's got a water bottle and another bottle. Almost looks like we'd call a jigger that you shake cocktails in. and she's just at the lid on the table. She shoved the water bottle off to the side. She's about to take the lid off and just about to swig it. And the guy that walked up that kind of looks like a minister, he wears the white around his collar and he's
Okay.
half balding glasses.
Yeah.
Soon as she sees him, she grabs the bottle and jams it in her pocket. What was in the bottle that you were going to drink? That you put away when they were calling it the popo. I don't think he was a police officer, but who was he that you didn't want him to know what you were drinking in that bottle? If it's just water, drink your water.
Right. This is why this is so interesting. I know there's a lot of other things out there that we should be talking about,
And we
stuff like
could
that.
be. We
But
could be.
this is whether or not this is like the fantastic distraction to get away from the
I
Ukraine
believe it is.
Russia thing,
Or
or
the World Health Organization
right. Oh.
vote that is going to be happening between the 22nd and the 28th. So anybody of you that don't believe it,
Mhm.
look up all that's out there in the way of the research of this vote. If this vote goes through, and it sounds very likely like it will, the World Health Organization has complete control over all 194 countries who are members of the WHO. They could say everybody's got to wear a mask and you got to wear a mask. They don't even have to declare a pandemic. They will have complete and utter control, superseding constitutions, all legalities, whatever. They will have complete power. And I'm oversimplifying it, but read it. It is scary. I
Well,
think it's to draw people away from this, to tell you the truth.
yeah, well, that could be a thing. There is other things going on there. Like I did a show a couple months back there about all the Justin Trudeau laws that he's trying to pass through there, and there's all these hidden little parts in there, and it's a destruction of free speech, and like I
And
said,
more.
and more. But the thing is, was like even with this trial that's going on here, this is just our viewing opinion of what we've been watching and relaying other people's opinions. But you can see it there. This is all in court. This is in a court, and we're seeing what's going on. And this is I guess it's a little bit off topic, anyways. But this is the importance of understanding who you're voting for to be your representative in government,
If their vote
because
even counts.
it's so important to understand who they stand for, and you can't just vote party, you have to vote person. And that's the thing. Excuse me, because there's so many little backdoor deals and so many little loopholes or whatever, or little extra things putting into these bills, and you have to read the fine print on anything. It's just like when you get a contract from a lawyer, you have to almost get another lawyer to
You
read
do
what's
need to,
right.
especially if there's quite a few pages. But what I was going to say is, I am absolutely shocked by the amount of people I've talked to that I would consider awake that really believe this is all over. This is all over. Like, what do you mean? What do you mean this is happening? What do you mean this is happening? Guys, this isn't over by a long shot. This is just a little reprieve to
Yeah.
give everybody a little breath of fresh air, like they've done over the last 2 years. We've had periods like this. And I'm not being a conspiracy theorist here. Look up Todd Callender, Toddcallend, I believe AR. Look him up. He used to be a lawyer. I believe he was involved with some government stuff as well in the US. This guy knows what's going on. And again, I always say, and I have great respect for people that say this too. You don't have to believe me. Don't believe the person even that's on there. Look it up for yourself. The only thing
Right.
I will say is use numerous search engines because some are being sanitized. And if
Yep.
you don't believe me, compare them side to side. You'll be shocked.
Yeah, we talked about this before
Mhm.
there, the difference of using Google search and DuckDuckGo.
Well,
And
DuckDuckGo has also been compromised over the
yeah,
last 3 or 4 months as well.
right. But the thing is, was that's why exactly what you just said there, and I've said this for since the beginning,
Mhm.
since I started the show almost 3 years ago, is do your own research, do your own homework. All I'm doing is I'm providing you with
Information.
information. I throw it all in the pot, and maybe you find something that tastes good, or maybe you come
Mhm.
up with your own uh, uh, thought from going there, and you go forward. And that's the thing, is that don't take our word for it.
Mm-mm.
And that's the thing. It says I would never put that on anybody. You have to be responsible of yourself to go and look at things. And I hear
Mhm.
this every day, uh, around and stuff, that people have this sort of this one way listening thing. They only listen from one source,
Mhm.
whether it's a mainstream media or their
Mhm.
favorite starlet or star or stuff like that,
Mhm.
and they believe that's the word of God, and that's how they believe and they think.
Mhm.
And it's really, I find it really perplexing. It's not worth getting arguments with these people
Mm-mm.
anymore, because you know what, you're just banging your head against the wall. It says, like, you should actually look into this yourself before you start spouting this stuff, right?
Well, I think so. And as I say with anything in life, just because I haven't heard of it doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
Right.
And the other thing is use the brain that you were given. Take a look at a bunch of different sources. Take a look, kind of like what you say, throwing everything in the pot, throw it all in there. Take a
Mm-hmm.
look and see. Yeah, I mean, even the people that are saying what they're saying, look up their credentials. Dr. David Martin is incredible, the stuff he's been doing. He
Yeah.
is the reason, by the way, as I understand it, and I have not known him to be untruthful. I haven't had a chance to verify this. I saw this last night. I was watching because he's talking about what's going on in Canada,
Right.
between Canada and the US, behind all what's going on or has been the last 2 years. And he is the reason why their injunction went through about the masks on planes in the United States. Now, here in Canada, they're putting through that none of us will be able to leave the country. None of us will be able to get on a bus, a
Mm-hmm.
plane, any sort of transportation. We won't be able to go in between provinces. And that is already going through for votes in our government. So we are in a lot of trouble here in Canada. And
Well,
most people are, I was just going to add, most people I've
yeah.
talked to think it's all over. Hmm.
See, this is I've talked about this before, about government involvement and basically taking over and running your life. So basically, you're almost
Hmm.
like in a prison system.
Hmm.
And I've talked to you about this like 10 years ago,
Hmm.
and even beforehand. Is that government should only be taking care of
Infrastructure
right, basically like that, not giving away its natural resources, fix the house, make things better for the country,
and the
make
will of
things
the
cheaper.
people, the will of
Right,
the majority of the people.
right. And what government's been doing since whatever the world wars, or even before that too, is
Hmm.
that they've been basically raping and pillaging from the people, and then mandating control over them. Like income tax was only a temporary thing back at the beginning of the 1900s, and guess what? It's all the way through.
It was
And
after World War One.
yeah, I think it was 19. I think it was instituted in that
1919.
1919.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is, was that was just a temporary to help
Cover the costs of
finance.
the war.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So now you have things that are going on, and like what it is this is a common thing. And Jamie Doors, even if you ever check out his page there, YouTube channel there, he said he's been saying the same thing, is that once you give once you give the government this little bit of control
They don't
that
give it
they
back.
say is temporary, it's never temporary, it's permanent. And that's what it is. You've lost. And people that vote for these people that are in there, and I'm not telling anybody how they should vote or how
Hmm.
they should do. I'm telling them is look into these people that, and sometimes it has to be the party, because the party goes and picks who they want to run as the leader. And if they're going, hey, we want this son of Castro to run the country, then you go, well, maybe we don't need that. Maybe that's not a good idea. Somebody that believes in communism and that party is supporting him to go forward, maybe that's not the party we should be voting for. And it's just sad the way it goes. It is.
Well, with
And
all this evil going around too, you know what I've been noticing? There's a lot more paranormal activity, it seems, and UFO and ET
mhm.
and all kinds of stuff. Like I've had this conversation with Michael Roser. He was on my show
Oh,
Monday
right, right.
night, and
Yeah.
he does dark hour paranormal, and we were talking about this, like, what are you seeing, like, what do you think this is, like, is it because collectively around the world, you got a lot of anger, a lot of social discord, you've got fighting, you've got depression, like all these lower vibrational emotions, if you will, or energy. Now, is that creating or opening the doorway, or like is something open up a portal somewhere like CERN? Like, what the heck's going on here? What do you think?
Yeah, that's sort of an interesting thing. That just reminds me of the very first Ghostbusters movie, right?
Yes.
Or was it no, the second one? That's
With
the one with the ooze, and it was says, oh yeah, New York was so angry, and then the flow of ooze that was going underneath, and
they
that's
put
the
a lot of predictive programming in movies, by the way.
that's true, and
Hmm.
a lot of Hollywood is run by the CIA, and that's to go
Hmm.
and direct or push thought in a certain direction. Um, that's what's sort of interesting, and
Hmm.
I thought this was also interesting too. Getting back to this part of Johnny Depp's character, is there was a clip by Kevin Smith who did
Hmm.
Dogma,
Yeah.
Mallrats, Clerks 1 and 2, a bunch of other movies. Chasing Amy. I think it was Chasing Amy or something,
Yeah.
whatever. But a bunch
And
of movies,
Johnny Depp's daughter and Kevin Smith's daughter did a movie together too, their first movie roles.
right? So he was talking about this movie Tusk that this idea that he had, and because yeah, they both go to school, the daughters go to school together, and what? So Kevin Smith goes and emails or texts them and says, "Hey, I got this idea for a movie. Here's the script," and he goes, "Just check it out." And all of a sudden, Depp goes and texts him back like 20 minutes later with some eloquent text message. I don't remember what all the words were, but it was like,
Hmm.
it says, "Hey, that sounds really interesting. Tell me when you're going to shoot." And all of a sudden, Kevin Smith is going, "Hey, this seems like this is awesome, right?"
Hmm.
So then they do the movie, and they were talking about this one part there. He's had Johnny Depp had to put a prosthetic nose on his thing there, and he goes, "Hey, like, look at that." It says, "Does this nose look like a dick?" And then he says, "Maybe I should put a little blue vein down the side and a little
Oh.
slit at the end." And
Hmm.
he said, and Kevin Smith's like, "Yeah, man, yeah." And then he thought that he was just doing a part out of it, that he just had to go and just talk into a microphone, and it was just going to be like scenes and that. And then Kevin Smith says, "No, no, hey, this is like, you have to do this. Like, the camera's going to be pointed right at you." And it's a long, like, 3 pages of doc or of script or
Dialogue.
whatever.
Hmm.
And he goes, "Yeah, we're shooting that like next, like in 20 minutes." He goes, "Oh, okay. I thought I was just going to be reading this." He goes like this. He goes and looks at it. He goes, "Doodle-doodle-doop, doodle-doodle-doop, doodle-doodle-doop," puts it down, says, "Okay, got it." And
Really?
and Kevin Smith says is that they went and filmed it, and then he kept on doing these little motions so they could really put out
Yeah.
the blue vein and the
Yeah.
dick profile on there. First take done in the movie. He said the guy memorized 3 pages. So
Yeah.
if he is such a coke addict, drug addict, alcoholic, all these
Hmm.
things, how does he remember all that stuff and like
Hmm.
that?
Well, like I said to you off camera, I see somebody's comment here. They feel he's a scary character, and you're definitely entitled to your opinion.
Yep.
I said, I don't think he's a bad guy. I think he's got some issues.
Right.
Like I've always said to you, I've said it on air and off air, and
Mm-hmm.
working professionally as well as I've been around it personally my whole life, not
Yeah.
myself, but growing up with it.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody wakes up one day and says, "Hey, I'm going to be a drug addict, or I'm going to be an
Yeah.
alcoholic."
Yeah.
More than likely, almost, I'd say almost 9 times out of 10, people have a lot of pain. And you
Yeah.
know what? And he's even admitted it in the trial that the only person I've ever abused is myself. And when I
Yeah.
use this, it's to numb what I'm dealing with or what I'm going through. And I believe that that's what people do.
Yeah.
And in almost everybody that goes through, detox or become sober, and especially if they're in a more famous position, not even, a lot of people come out with their stories and they talk about the work that had to be done to start healing themselves, because that's the scary part, guys,
Yeah.
is, the physical, that's a terrible thing and it hurts,
Hmm.
but it's gone unless you got a scar. But the
Right.
emotional, it's there forever. And it takes a lot of work to unravel and unwind.
Yeah. And the other part there that I'd say out of this is that everything that because this was a big push there yesterday and the day before, is that he's only destroying his own property.
Hmm.
He can go and drink and do whatever he
I
wants in
agree.
his own house. He can go and break his TV, do whatever.
That's what I said too. It's bought and paid for. He
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 says
he
he
worked
paid
for
for
it.
it all, and
Mhm.
all these other people that are living on his basically on the
His
Johnny
dime.
Depp dole,
Hmm.
right? That have places to live there, like that he's supplying them penthouse apartments in L.A. free of charge.
Hmm.
If he wants to go and kick the door down, play his guitar as loud as he wants on there, and burn the TV, his property.
Well,
You're
that's
not.
another thing I want to say quickly, because I appreciate your comment. I'm sorry, I'm gonna not say your name properly, but you said at least Depp is not a Robert Blake. I agree. Plus, if he was this scary of a character, why would all these people be living there free of charge on his dime? I don't
Yeah.
care if it's a free place to stay. If you're in danger and
Yeah.
it's that horrific. I
Yeah.
mean, people stayed a long time on his dime.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And
Yep.
I don't think that's been brought out enough, except for that one lawyer there yesterday when she
Hmm.
did the cross examination of
Hmm.
Whitney. That said, like, oh, so you were still calling and calling him about
Hmm.
other stuff there after this. It says, do you love your sister? Like, aren't you protecting of your sister? But you still wanted to jump in and go in the plane and go to.
Yeah, they showed a text today where he texted Whitney and he said, "Well, Amber just punched me." And she goes, "Gee, I'm not surprised."
Right. And stuff like that is like it's just amazing. Okay, we only got about a minute or two
That went
left
by
here.
too. We could talk about this all night.
I know. I just had to. I just needed to fill in the spot there, and I'm so glad that you did because I was thinking about because I had so many questions for Soma ARah, who
Yeah.
that
Well, she'll come on when it's meant to happen.
that's true, and talk about the Pleiadians and maybe find out something about the future. Hopefully before the Stanley Cup finals there and there, so I can put some bets
I
down.
I'd be surprised if she's going to give you any future predictions. I would be very surprised. We both had her on our show before, but
Yeah,
I could be wrong.
yeah. So, anyways, out of that, there, tell them where they can go and find you there, Laura.
Okay, you guys can find me on Monday nights here on UPRN on the Angel Rock, 5 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Eastern. This Monday, finally, the poor gentleman, I filmed this with him about 3 or 4 weeks ago. It is a long weekend in Canada for some reason. I
Hmm.
figured it was the 16th on Monday. That was last Monday. So I will be playing the recording of Garnet Schulhauser. I've been talking about this interview. We talk about in this interview about what happens when you die,
Yeah.
all kinds of things. Anyways, if you ever want to get a hold of me, guest ideas, book a reading, healing sessions, you can find me at facebook.com/the Angel Rock.
Oh, and I
Thanks
didn't
for
even.
having
I
me.
was going to give a shout out to my brother and my niece and nephew
And your
that
sister-in-law.
and my sister-in-law
Yes.
that sent me these great Pickle Rick bathing shorts for my early birthday. My birthday is next week. There, May 25th,
Yeah.
and so I got this package yesterday, and I was like they were so. I loved it, anyways, because like
Thanks everybody for being here too. All these people that joined in the conversation. We really appreciate it.
yes, exactly, and stay tuned for Red Pill News afterwards here on UPRN, and we'll see you all next week.
See you next week. Have a good one.